the crime after arrest in November. The investigation reveals Shraddha had faced months, if not years, of abuse. Do all these crimes show that there are criminal minds and there can be people in a fit of rage, anger and passion, kill somebody, hack somebody? But why would family members get involved is the question. Or is there a deeper malaise saying that if you cannot come on my way, follow my path and listen to me, then you don't deserve to live? Raleef Salif Khalif. Does that come to your mind? Or is that too much of a hyperbole? We'll discuss this threadbare. Let's dive into this. Are these just deviant minds, or is there a deeper malaise that we need to be aware of as society and then work towards sorting this out? And does this stem from a history which says that theologically the intent is to convert tabligh, however you do it, and then you ensnare, and if you don't follow my way, I will kill you. So convert or die. Is that too much of a hyperbole? Let's ask the ladies who are with me in studio, and we also have Dr. Makrand Paranspe joining us. But Aarti Agarwal, author and researcher, is with us. Aishwarya Mudgil is a lawyer with us. Ambar Zaidi is a social activist who's also got a big petition in court calling for a uniform civil code. She is with us, and Dr. Makrand Paranspe, Professor JNU and political commentator, also with us. Professor Paranspe, you are outside the studio. The ladies are in the studio, so I'm going to start with them and we'll come across and let's just discuss this threadbare, because on the face of it, Ambar Zaidi, yes, when we look at a string of events, there seems to be a pattern. But we are a vast country, and if you look at it, a nation of 1.4 billion people, and if you take 25-30 cases, can you actually string a pattern? Or you can say criminals exist in every society. In this case, should we bring religion, Muslim boy, Hindu girl into consideration? Or would you say no, look at it as crime of passion?
See, I don't look at it as a normal crime of a pattern, but I, as a Muslim of this country, I personally accept that there is a pattern and there is something happening in the society. But the problem with our society is the responsible people of the community, our religious scholars, they are in complete denial. They blatantly deny, outrightly deny that there is no there is no such thing called love jihad. It is just coined by and created by media and some Hindu outfits. But on the contrary, the reality is that this term coined in Kerala just years and years ago, and we all know that what happened in Kerala, the mass conversion of Christian girls came into the fore, and now the new pattern which we are discussing on, every other day we are just coming up with the new cases where the girls of different community are being targeted and ending up getting killed. So first and foremost, we should accept that there is something wrong which is going on. We should accept as Muslim and then come up with a solution. But the problem is that, Anand, when there is a condition that as a Muslim you cannot marry outside the religion, then this happens. But on the contrary, in our constitution we have provision of Special Marriage Act. Then also, if you marry under Special Marriage Act, you have to follow nikah and you have to do nikah. So there is a condition, you have to convert. If you are a Muslim, then you can marry. If you can convert into the same faith which I follow, for example, then only you can get married to the person. So when these conditions are being put in front of the youth, so I think this is the main cause, and we should find a solution about it. And
no, but Amber, you please let me ask you this. Okay, there are so many cases where there is a Hindu woman or a Hindu guy and a Muslim woman or a Muslim guy who are married, who are happy. There is no forcing of. The issue comes when you try and say you have to convert to my faith.
Absolutely.
You create situations where you either say मैं तुम्हारी video बाहर कर दूंगा, You try and create, you have equations with the girl, and then you tell her, Aishwarya, that's what you go ahead and tell her, listen, I want to get married to you, but my parents will accept only if you convert to Islam. So then you knew that, then why did you enter into a relationship?
That's what I'm saying. So, there is a kind of social, socio-religious pressure which is being put on young minds, that you ask your partner, your living partner, or your fiancé, or whatever you may call it, that you have to follow my faith, then only I can accept, or my society will accept.
So then I'll ask two questions here. Okay, one of the girls, if the girls, why can't they be very, very clear what they want? Okay, the girls are also entering into a relationship with a guy, right? Why can't the Muslim boys be very clear, listen, if my family, my people are not going to allow me an inter-caste, inter-community marriage, then let me not go in that direction. Why first accept a girl because of who she is, for her values or her systems, and then tell her, no, you have to accept my way, otherwise I will defame you. Otherwise, I'll leave you high and dry. This is all emotional blackmail which happens from the guy's side.
Mindset.
Yeah. So is that a criminal mindset?
Imbalance.
Is that a criminal mindset? And then the other thing is, girls are also falling for it. There are girls also who allow themselves to be subjected to this. They allow themselves to be put through this. So, are they not at fault? I'm just asking. I'm putting this up.
Because the girls of different community, they are so liberal, and we are not. We ask you to follow our rules. Then the fault is in your, in your community.
You like the girl because she is liberal, and then you tell her, no, you have to become orthodox.
The fault there are
two points to it. One is, of course, as Amber said, that people are coming from a liberal society. We are open to the idea of getting married to a different community, whereas the other community may not be that liberal. There's also cases where the guy has lied about his identity or about the religion. So just recently, today itself, Intizar from Noida was caught because he was masquerading as Sonu. 2 days ago, there was someone else, Asif, masquerading as Ashok in Gujarat. There was someone else, Muhammad Itejar, masquerading as Rakesh Singh in Bihar. Mohsin Khan as Monu Verma in MP. So these cases are the cases which have built up or led people to think that there is some sort of, or legislatures to call for a legislative intervention. Why is that legislative intervention needed? The hotly debated topic about the love jihad law, which I believe is a misnomer, which is not the right way to say it. But why do such acts come in, right? And whatever you call it, let's just, even if I call it love jihad law, this has been in existence for years. I think Odisha came up with this similar legislation back in 1968, and constitutionality of it was already challenged in 1977.
And here it is not forced, it is inducement, it is fraudulent, it is ensnaring, allurement, and also coercion to a certain extent, because you are using emotional blackmail to the level. And it's not restricted to Hindu girls. In Kerala, we've seen it's Christian girls, there are Jain girls, there are girls from all communities who are being targeted while you hide identity. One is you hide identity, the other is you know that there is going to be an issue, and then you use that after you've taken the girl far down the garden path.
Right. Absolutely. So I think, Anand, here what we are dealing with is several types and different levels of deception. Right? It's not just fraud, it's deception. So, you know that the girl is coming from a liberal background or a Hindu or a Christian background, and in the beginning you behave like it's all perfectly fine with you, and then slowly you change your colors over a period of time. That's one thing. Now, the other thing is, my contention, having studied a lot of these cases over the past 4 years, is that this is deliberate targeting of Christian, of Hindu girls. Deliberately they are being targeted for being women and for being from a particular community, and many of these women are actually from oppressed backgrounds, like they are scheduled castes, scheduled tribes or other backgrounds, tribal girls, right? And they are being lured for some incentives which they are never going to fulfill. Like many times the man promises to marry the girl and he never fulfills it. Many times the man doesn't even tell the girl that he already has 3 wives or he already has kids, or that he is going to expect the girl to live like a slave, to do everything he asks her to live. So these things are not made clear at all. So, because many people argue that they are consenting adults. So what's the problem? So this is the problem, because there is several levels of deception. So if you're agreeing to something which you think, which is a lie, that's not consension. Right? The other point I want to make here is that there are at least 500 to 600 such cases per year. The number is not trivial. Right? And if we think this number is trivial, then we are not valuing human life. And this is a much more fundamental problem than just looking at a particular statistic that, okay, you know, out of all the interfaith marriages in the country, only a few percentage, even if it's 2%, do the lives of those few percent not matter? I mean, that's my question.
Yeah, but
right?
if it is a small person, and let me ask Makranji. Makranji is also here. Makranji, let me ask you this. Then does this become individual deviant minds who are deceiving and deceptive, or should you attach a larger theological intent to it? That is that you want to eventually convert via allurement.
Yes, I think my fellow panelists have made very important points. I also want to congratulate them for their courage in speaking out, especially Ambarji, because it's very difficult in our society to bring these issues to light. But as you said, case upon case and several tragedies later, we are now waking up. So to answer your question, I feel what we need, first of all, is a definition of love jihad. And I have a very simple acronym for it, 3IMCI. I'll just explain what I mean. 3 I's, impersonation, inducement, intimidation. These are the 3 I's. MC, marriage conversion. And the last I is optional. I call it ill treatment / injury. So not all cases result in injury. Often there is ill treatment. And even if they don't result in murder and hacking as we've seen, the fact that you have these 3 I's and MC is enough to call it a love jihad case. This is very different from 2 consenting adults who are free to choose their partners and also their religions, by the way, which is allowed in the Constitution. So I think we have to ensure that wherever there is impersonation, allurement or inducement, and then intimidation, as you said, you know, leaking out clips, blackmailing, sometimes even torturing them, as was the case with Shraddha.
Yeah.
She was beaten, bruised. Now here is where I come to the second part of this whole discussion. Legislation alone is not sufficient. As my friends have already said, my co-panelists, we need greater awareness and education in society. You know, younger people need counseling. We need more safe family environments where they can come up with their problems. Like Shraddha was being brutalized for such a long time, but she couldn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
There was so much shame involved, you know. And both communities need counseling. It's not just one, because the other side also needs to be told the implications of this going down the road. And Aarti ji said, you know, they target certain communities. But when I read up on this, there are 2 books on this, by the way.
Yeah.
A latest one by Monica ji, which was published by Garuda.
Right.
But in Kerala, apparently there was actually a price.
Yeah.
The higher caste women
Yeah.
had a higher price in
Yeah.
the inducement. So
Correct.
there is a global nexus here. And Anandi, the last point I wanted to make today was that we have to look at this in terms of the cultural background. If you're a Hindi speaker, you would have heard the phrase Ganimat hai. Now, Ganimat really means the conquest, the booty that the conquerors were entitled to, the booty that came from their right hand. If you conquer somebody, you know, so the property, the women and the children become a part of the Ganimat. So you have to see the cultural background of conquest, conversion, and how, you know, the children of the conquered, the children of both the slaves, you know, and the concubines were automatically Muslims. And somebody was saying earlier, the prohibition against marrying outside the community sometimes results in very drastic steps. So we need, even under the Special Marriages Act, actually the problem is people have to say, I'm not a Hindu, I'm not a Muslim. Only then, I'm not a Parsi, I'm not a Christian. Only then you can, you know, use the Special Marriages Act provision. But the moment you do, the moment, may I just finish? The moment you have a nikah on top of it, then you've sealed the door for any return. You know, so through education, we can say that, first of all, if there has been impersonation, don't go ahead in this relationship. Secondly, if there's been any allurement, promises of marriage, or any threats or intimidation, please don't go ahead, you know. Don't wait for marriage and conversion and then try to rectify the situation when it may be too late.
Well, but see, there are, if you look at different cases, in the case of when the second wife was chopped into many pieces, she knew she was the second wife. So she agreed to be, and she converted. She converted and she agreed. So then do you fault only the guy and the murderer for whatever he has done?
No. We are faulting society as well, Anandji, because she has no recourse, either legal or psychiatric or for counseling. We need places where women who are abused, in fact, women across the board need much more support in our society. So love jihad is only one aspect of it, but there's a lot of ill treatment of women in our society, and they have no recourse. So we have to have a multi-pronged approach, legal, educational and societal, where there are support groups where women can come out. There may be anonymous helplines. A woman should be able to go on an anonymous helpline and say, look, I need help. I'm in an abusive relationship. And this applies to whether they are married or not. There are many girls, I teach at a university, and people get into very abusive relationships because they have no help, because they have a double life. They're not telling their families what they're doing, you see?
Yes.
And there's shame, there's stigma. So we have to approach this in a very sympathetic, empathetic manner and look at all the complexities. But the bigger points, the three IMCI, this we have to foreground as a definition, impersonation, inducement, intimidation, marriage, conversion, and then ill treatment, injury. I think this is the...
No, I understand. So you've explained it beautifully, but I just want to ask you, it's happening pan-India. At different places.
Yes.
So are you saying there is a thought continuum?
Exactly. So my point is that the people who commit these kind of acts, they are indoctrinated, and at least my contention is this needs to be treated as organized crime. Because see, the pattern, it's not just that the crime is happening, the methodology, the timeline, the way they blackmail or they threaten the woman, all of these crimes, it's like it's playing out from a copybook. It's not like it's all scripted. So we have to treat it as organized crime and look at the background of these people, because most of these people never hang. They're never going to prison. And I mean, talking of intervention and therapy and counseling and all that, many of these women actually went to the police, asked for help, and they did not receive any help. They were, the claims were dismissed. So, it's not just the law. Law enforcement is a very big problem in India, and especially in these kind of sensitive cases, it's very easy to manipulate law enforcement. It's very easy to bribe somebody, or, for the person to have their own biases, or for just, to stay away from controversy or, some kind of infamy. These kind of cases do not get any attention until the woman ends up dead. That is the brutal reality. So I think this needs to be treated as organized crime. And just one more point, and I just wanted to address your point that, is this deviant behavior, or is this, some exception or something like that? All crime is deviant behavior. Not all of us end up as criminals. So, criminals are the deviant people.
What I'm also asking is, can you attach a theological motive to it? When you have this entire set of crimes, can you attach a theological motive pan? Because in some cases families are involved. In some cases they are just into a relationship and the guy decides that how dare you rebuke me, how dare you reject me, so I'll come and kill you. In other cases you have the classic Stockholm syndrome where the woman's being abused for 3-4 years but she does not get out of it. Then in other cases there are whole families involved who decide, let's just finish off with her because we don't like her. You get all of that. So then can I attach a theological motive to it?
I'd like to add on to this, because I think, Anand, we need a mass awareness on the particular topic, that the people of this country and globally should understand what is Islam is and what is the ethos and rules of Islam, because we have a concept of kafir and the hatred towards kafir is prevalent and everybody knows. When there is a concept of kafir and you want other people and the religious scholars lure people, if you convert a kafir into Islam, you will go to Jannah. So people end up doing such acts, which is prevalent, and now not only in India, you can see in other countries also. Pakistan, you can see every other day the girls of minority community, they just getting abducted forcefully, they are getting raped and forcefully converted to a man who is older and older, and nobody is listening to them because there is no legislature, no law, and nobody is going to listen to them because they think this is our right and this is all about Islam and we are serving our religion. So when there is a thought process like this, I think the people, especially girls of the different community, they should understand, and we need a mass awareness on this, that if you want to marry a Muslim man, then you have to convert. There is a precondition. There is no hunky-dory about anything. You need to understand first what you are getting into. I think this is
so you are very, very clearly saying that there is no thing about interfaith marriage if it comes to a Muslim. It's a very, very strong statement that you make. I would like to believe that there are a lot of moderate
religious scholar.
No, I understand. No, I'm just saying that I would want to say that there are liberal, moderate, right-thinking people in society who would say that I respect your faith and I'm not going to force you.
I wanted to add that we have a provision of a special marriage.
Correct,
I think in that also there should be a provision that if you are getting married to a man or a girl of different community, there should be a provision that you cannot get converted even after marriage. So there are glitches in our legislature also. So there are so many points.
See, but here again legally it comes into play. If I voluntarily want to convert, then can you stop me from doing that?
You can respect your partner's religion, but you cannot convert. I think there should be a mutual respect. But there should not be
what the crux, Aishwarya, is that how do you know that what your decision you're taking is voluntarily and you've not been brainwashed into thinking that that's what you need.
Exactly.
So
and
all of that
as she mentioned about Special Marriage Act, a very interesting thing. A lot of people don't want to go for Special Marriage Act because there is a notification requirement. So the government will publish a notice which says within 30 days these people are supposed to get married. If there are any objections are invited. So people do not want to go for Special Marriage Act because their identity will be disclosed or their religion will be disclosed. That is something that acts as a deterrent. Now the same thing comes into play when you talk about any anti-conversion laws. If you talk about the UP prohibition or if you talk about MP, all of these envisage that the couple will have to declare that these people are getting married. There will be a 60-day, they'll have to submit before the DM. They'll have to notify 60 days in advance so that a check can take place. Now, anybody would argue that this is to ensure that they are voluntarily getting converted. But the problem is, this is exactly what irks a lot of legal scholars, because they say that this is against my right to privacy. As Aarti ji also mentioned about law enforcement agencies, the problem with law enforcement is that they sometimes tend to stretch it so far. So something like, inspecting or someone you automatically out of their own violation going and saying that, oh, that's an interfaith couple. Whereas under the law, they are not supposed to do that, but they'll end up going. They'll end up stretching so far.
From Delhi, a Muslim girl from Delhi, named Afreen. She wanted to marry, to a man of different religion, and she had to notify as per the law, as Aishwarya mentioned. And her parents got to know through, some policemen. And later on, she got logged for months and months. So that's how our, law enforcement agencies work. So how can you ensure the security of a woman pre or post marriage in such cases?
See, there is this whole thing about choice. So if you are an adult and if you're, then should I stop you from choosing?
Right.
Now, can law stop you from choosing?
That's my point. My point was that you can marry a man of your choice irrespective of religion, but there should not be a condition of getting converting into that religion.
See, I think the precondition needs to come.
Absolutely, that was my point.
The precondition should not be there from the side of the other person, is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
And the other question is, even for conversion, they should first have a primer on Islam before they convert to Islam, or a primer on Hinduism before they convert to Hinduism. So,
I think
you can't just say, it's not like, oh, today I'm something and tomorrow I'm something else. This is not a question of self-identification. You're getting into a very big ideological system. You're going to be a part of, you're going to be a cog in that machine, right? So you should know what you're getting into before you make a so-called voluntary decision. Because that's not voluntary if you don't know what you're getting.
Correct. And do you really think...
When a Hindu girl got converted into Islam, then your right of being a Hindu woman gets away. You cannot claim, the property right in your husband. There is no safety of your financial security even in your marriage. You can't adopt a child. You can't claim your kharcha pani and nothing. There is no safety of your future financial or anything. So you need to know everything about it.
You need to know understand the implications.
Exactly.
Makaranji, final word. I'm way over time, but I know. See, because what happens is one thing that we've been able to establish is that there seems to be a continuum, a thought continuum when these kind of acts are being committed, underlying. So if the messaging is coming from where they are getting this message, then those people who are setting this message or who are pushing this in their head, saying this what you're doing is right, or this is what you're supposed to do, and it's an achievement, it's a score, it's a tick box for you to get a step hope, on your pathway to heaven, or 72 hoors in your afterlife, then it's a problem that needs to be addressed. Secondly, there are two parties to this, Makaranji. There is a guy and there is a girl. So you can't just put the whole blame on one portion, because the other party is also getting vulnerable and it's also falling for this trap. It's getting baited. Makaranji, final word, I have to wind up. Ji.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's you have to look at this problem from multiple levels: theological, legal, social, and educational. As I said, theologically, we've already mentioned, as Amberji said, look at what's happening in Pakistan. Minor Hindu girls are getting abducted,
Skinned
raped,
now today,
killed,
latest one.
converted, married. And what about ISIS and what they did with Yazdis? Look at the sexual slavery there. So there is a theological aspect which can't be put under the carpet, as many of us secularists, or secularists as some people call them, do. Legally, there are many loopholes, there are many problems, as we were talking. For example, turn it the other way around. If a Hindu woman marries a Muslim man who's very wealthy, say he's a Nawab, according to the Muslim law, unless she converts, their children can't inherit the property.
Correct.
So she'll say, well, I don't care so much about the theology, I want my children to be secure. So there's the legal side. Then there's the social side, which we brought up again and again.
Yeah.
And finally, the criminal side. I don't think we should stretch everything to these cases where people were brutally murdered and chopped up into pieces. I think we have to tackle it as a social issue where we have to educate both sides and keep your eyes open and look at what you're getting into, learn about what the implications are, and you are consulting adults.
Right.
No one can take away your rights. But by the same token, if I want to marry somebody and I put my name in the Special Marriages Act register, I can't be locked up in my room either because I'm an adult.
Correct. Well, very rightly said, but am I getting into that Special Marriage Act of my own free volition, or have I been brainwashed into believing that whatever I'm doing is right? That's again another big... That's again one big aspect, because if you look at the Hadia case and where she finally ended up in, what happened to the case in our courts and where she finally ended up in, if you look at the cases of the ISIS widows and the number of people and how many of them are actually girls from Hindu and Christian communities who are brainwashed and deeply radicalized, then people would understand the serious problem. But for the common person on ground, they believe it's my right to choose. Now, and if they are adults, then there becomes a bigger hindrance. It's quite engaging and thought-provoking, this entire thing. But yes, like you said, there are many layers, and what you said, the 3 I's and C and I. So that is something that we have to be very careful and we have to be mindful of. Makarand Paranjpe, and to the ladies here in the studio, thank you very much for a very engaging conversation. We're going to take a very short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we turn the spotlight towards the NIA raids, 56 locations, and again, it's the same organization that's been banned for 5 years. Are they regrouping? Stay with us.
Inside those chemist shops. In fact, we tried to approach the drug controller of Bihar. He gave a very bizarre answer that it was not his responsibility, but shockingly he is also the registrar of Pharmacy Council of Bihar. So it's his responsibility to go check, conduct raids on these pharmacists, whether there are fake pharmacists or not, but he is evading our questions. He is not ready to speak anything. He is just saying that our higher authorities will answer your questions. Now we went to the Joint Secretary to question him. He promptly said that no, registrar will answer. So they are pointing fingers towards each other, but no one is going to answer our questions.
This is a story that comes to you from Bihar. Behind Bihar's chemist counters are imposters, it seems, who are posing as pharmacists. This is a case that was first brought to the Supreme Court's attention a few weeks ago. The Supreme Court also had a say in this entire matter, But has anything changed on the ground? This is a ground report brought to you. My colleague Saurabh brought us this over a period of a few days. This was his research. Take a look.
They can be found on every street, stocked with life-saving drugs. But what if the person behind the counter is completely unqualified for the job and is selling you medicines willy-nilly? A diploma in pharmacy or a bachelor of pharmacy is a basic qualification for a practicing pharmacist. But in Bihar, those rules go for a toss and fake pharmacists rule the roost. In the government-run New Gardiner Hospital in Patna,
हमको ये सब दवाई है.
we found 2 uncertified pharmacists operating on behalf of the registered pharmacist whose certificate is proudly displayed on the wall.
कितने का है ये?
ये कर पाएगा 7 रुपए का होगा.
ये है आपका 40 रुपये.
मेरा है ना.
तो आप क्या उनके भाई भाई हैं क्या?
लीजिए. भैया हम 5 साल से इस लाइन में काम कर रहे हैं.
अच्छा.
कुछ तो नॉलेज है ना.
एकदम एक्सपीरियंस पे जैसे कंपाउंडर डॉक्टर बन जाता है वैसे ही
पटना का कोनो कोना के दवाई की हमने समझ लेंगे कि क्या हाट है.
तो इसका क्या नाम है फार्मासिस्ट जो है?
एक कप ना खाना इसको. क्या हुआ ये ना
क्या नाम है?
अमित नाम होगा.
है
अमित दे रहे हैं पूरा
अमित.
हो गया.
दो है क्या इसमें? दो फार्मासिस्ट है?
नहीं फार्मासिस्ट है, मालिक है, ओनर है.
At the private Ruban Women and Child Hospital in Patna, the pharmacist had registered in Uttar Pradesh but is practicing illegally in Bihar.
कॉलेज से है, कॉलेज आपको पूरा डिग्री देगा. वो डिग्री लेके उसके बाद उसमें कुछ और 3 महीने का आपको एक्सपीरियंस सर्टिफिकेट लेना होगा. ठीक है. उसको बोलते हैं क्या नाम है?
इंटर्नशिप जो होता है.
इंटर्नशिप.
हाँ.
ठीक है. इंटर्नशिप 3 महीने का होता है. 3 महीने का इंटर्नशिप कर लिए. उसके बाद ये कुछ डॉक्यूमेंट्स और भी हैं.
उसके बाद ये सब डॉक्यूमेंट वगैरह ये सब इंटर्नशिप वगैरह करके
उसके बाद अपना ऑनलाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन होता है. हम लोग को यूपी में हो गया ऑनलाइन.
अच्छा.
टोटल आप ऑनलाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन कर दिए.
हाँ.
ऑनलाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन करेंगे तो आपको कोई भी फॉर्म भरते हैं तो आईडी पासवर्ड सबसे पहले होता है ना. आईडी पासवर्ड बन गया. उसके बाद रजिस्ट्रेशन आप सक्सेसफुल हो गया. रसीद आपको मिल जाएगा.
वो फार्मेसी काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया से होता है रजिस्ट्रेशन.
हाँ
ठीक है.
तो उसका रसीद मिल गया. उसके बाद अपने वेबसाइट पे कोई भी खोल के चेक कर सकते हैं कि आपका कहाँ तक प्रोसेस हुआ है. यूपी में ही हो गया चुका है.
अच्छा.
जहाँ तक हम लोग का टोटल ऑनलाइन ही हुआ है.
तो आप यूपी में थे तो आप बिहार में प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं ऐसा
बिहार
है?
में
मतलब जिस स्टेट
है ना.
हाँ.
तो यहाँ पे हम अपना डिग्री नहीं दिए हैं. क्यों नहीं दे पाएंगे? क्योंकि बिहार में हमको ट्रांसफर कराना पड़ेगा.
अच्छा. मतलब कि आप जैसे जहाँ का रजिस्ट्रेशन होता है आप वहीं पे प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं.
हो चुका है.
तो आप यूपी में ही ऐसे लीगली अगर आप देखा जाए
चलाना चाहते हैं, कुछ करना चाहते हैं तो यूपी में ही करेंगे.
In this hospital in Bhagalpur, the pharmacist's brother is dispensing medicines without even asking for a prescription.
बुलाइए ना फार्मासिस्ट. उनको बुलाइए ना, जानते होंगे दवाई ववाई के बारे में.
आप बताओ ना क्या चीज़ पूछना है.
वाइफ प्रेग्नेंट है, उसको बीपी का थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम होता है.
Back on with news just coming in from pole-bound state of Karnataka. The state cabinet has decided to move Lingayats and Vokkaligas from category 3 to category 2. And as per the interim report of the state backward classes, the state government has created 2 more categories called 2C and 2D in addition to 2A and 2B. The quota will be balanced from the reservation allocation of the economically weaker sections. And with this decision of the state cabinet, there will be no categories called 3A and 3B in future. Let's go across to Ritu for more. Yes, Ritu. So the government is saying that they are going to try and figure out a way to balance this out from the EWS so that the Panchamasali Lingayats, largely who have been making the demand for reservation, are somehow appeased or managed.
Well, exactly. You see, this was a long time a debate and a fight as well from both the Lingayat community as well as from the Vokaliga community, where you see after a constant cabinet ministers and the delegations from both the communities meeting CM Basuraj Bommai today, the state government in Belagavi, where the winter session was on, and today happens to be the last day of the winter session. So end of the winter session, you see the Madhuswamy, in fact, the law minister of the Karnataka came out and said that in the cabinet that was taken up, the decisions have been made and there has been a solution that has been found as well. Now, what are the crucial things that the state government has decided here is that there won't be any more category called as 3A and 3B. But now, in addition to that, you see there is two additional categories that have been created, as in 2C and 2D, wherein the Panchamasali Lingayat community, which was under 3B, where they were getting a 5% of the reservation, and their demand was to move to 2A to get the 15% of the reservation. But now they will be moved to 2D category of reservation quota, and the Vokaliga community for all this while, which was getting the 4% of the reservation and was demanding for 12% of reservation, will be moved to 2C category. But yes, the state government is yet to give the kind of a clarity of how many percent of the reservation in fact will be given to them. But yes,
right.
The law minister had made it clear that both the communities will be able to get all the benefits for education and for the business purpose, and apart from that there won't be much reservation for the other in the other sectors that they want to claim it. So that is the kind of word clearly been put out by the law minister. But yes, we have seen
it all sounds a little confusing at the moment, so everybody wants to get some clarity. Our research team has just put this out. I quickly want to read this out. The OBC reservation in Karnataka is divided into 5 categories. Category 1 is 4%, 2A is 15%, 2B is 4%, 3A is 4%, and 3B is 5%. Now, apart from this, there's also a 15% reservation for scheduled castes and 3% for scheduled tribes. That's how it makes the 50%. So, at this point, OBC reservations are present in 3B category, that is the Lingayat subsects, all of them. So, apart from the Panchamasali and the Veerashaiva Lingayats, there are 23 Lingayat subcastes who can be found in 3B. They all now find themselves moved to 2C or 2D. Now, the 2A category presently is made out of 102 occupational subcastes. So, if they were to be moved into 2A, that would further divide the reservation over the castes, these subcastes. Largely, the political discourse has been dominated by the Vokaligas and the Lingayats in Karnataka, and most of the other OBCs and the subcastes, smaller castes, have not found that kind of voice that they would actually claim. Now, what this would do going forward, we'll have to wait and watch. Meanwhile, listen into the reactions. K. Sudhakar has spoken, and we also caught up with DK Shivkumar of the Congress. Listen.
This is going to be a historical decision. This is a revolutionary decision, and this is going to be, appreciated by one and all of this Karnataka state. It is very much legally possible, legally tenable, and socially it was very much required. Of course, it is feasible. This is done in accordance with the report of the backward commission.
How would you respond to this move by the Karnataka government to accord reservation to Lingayat community, where they're trying to create a separate clause as 2C and 2D?
See, it is not very clear. They're just trying to give us a carrot at the time of the election. We know, as per the Supreme Court judgment, there are a lot of issues and confusion. All communities have been demanding for as per their population. So what they are trying to break out, let the government come out with the clarity, then we are going to react.
Because what they have said is that they're going to move some of the castes, like the Lingayats and the Vokaligas, and there won't be any 3A and 3B categories. They'll be moved to 2C and 2D categories.
We don't want any community to be affected out of it. What the demand is, as per the population, all communities are been demanding. We don't want to disturb any of the existing reservation, whatever they have. At the same time, there is no clarity in it. That is why we are just seeking for clarification, then we are going to react on it.
But if there is a provision for Lingayats to get a quota or reservation, would you welcome it or would you challenge?
See, I'm telling you, I don't want to react immediately. Let me have a clarity in it. See, I'm a political head. though I belong to a different one community, Wakaliga community, I don't want, it is not only me. My party stand should be very clear that justice should be given to everyone. That is our utmost importance.
Now, for the second time after they were banned for unlawful activities on the 28th of September, there were statewide raids in Kerala conducted by the NIA in conjunction with the local police to scoop up the Tier 2, Tier 3 leadership of the PFI. Let's get you an overview of the raids that happened at the break of dawn this Thursday, largely targeting the second and third rung of the PFI. The locations were early morning at multiple Ernakulam 13 locations, Alapura 3 locations, Kollam 3 locations. Then further on, Pathanamthitta 3 locations were raided, Malappuram 7 locations were raided, Wayanad 6 locations were raided. There were more raids which happened in Thrissur, Kottayam and Thiruvananthapuram, 3 locations in Thiruvananthapuram and 2 each in the other 2 districts. Kannur city had 9 locations being raided, Palakkad had 1 location being raided and Kozhikode had 4 locations being raided. So overall about 56 locations were raided, and what stands out, ladies and gentlemen, is that from some of these places, just before the NIA arrived there along with the local police, some of the leaders escaped. So are there moles within? How deeply embedded is PFI across the system? And is there a threat of this organization regrouping? Let's go across to our guest straight away. On these NIA raids on the PFI, Amna Begum Ansari is with us, Rahul Ishwar is with us, and BG Harindranath, former law secretary and bureaucrat from Kerala, with us. Namaste to everybody. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to ask Mr. BG Harindranath, how sinister is this organization, and how sincere is the local administration in cracking down upon them? Because one gets the feeling that a lot of the PFI cadre or leaders were warned ahead of these raids. That's why they were able to escape.
The significant thing the most significant thing which we have to understand is Kerala has been very soft on these kind of Pisiparis tendencies from the beginning. When the professor's hand was cut, some about 1.5 decades ago, there was not even a proper investigation or arrest of those persons, and you will find that some of these assailants went scot-free. Next thing is, there were several such activities across Kerala, but we wanted to portray before the other parts of the country that we are a society where there is communal harmony. There is nothing like that in Kerala, and therefore what has happened is that this narrative, we kept on pushing that, and we have come to a pass where we cannot live because of these undesirable miscreants. Now they've got a lot of funds. It is coming from outside Kerala. If you look at it, you will find that the entire smuggling of gold, I mean the big chunk of it comes to Kerala. And who does this? This is the undesirable elements who are getting these funds. They are channelizing it for other nefarious purposes. And the police, police are also very soft, because police in Kerala, they are afraid to enter into certain religious and political areas because they think that if they enter these thickets, their position itself will be very, shaky. And there is no political backing for the policemen who are upright in these matters. And secondly, our media narrative goes on a different way, because they don't actually understand, or they turn a Nelson's eye on these kind of issues. That is one of the main reasons why we are facing this situation. And we have elements in the police itself who are ready to leak out the news to the organizations, and they get a free escape route, and they get away. So this is, see, I understand. Even when I was law secretary long back, that was around 7 years, 8 years ago, there was a person who was, sending news, hacking the emails, who was in the computer cell of the police DGP headquarters, who was sending this news to several persons, targeting certain communities. You find nothing was done. We had found out a lot about whom he was sending, but the police did not take any action on these matters.
No, but that is quite surprising, and it's a cause for worry that this entity and this organization has been able to embed itself in such a level manner, and then they also have perfected the art of plausible deniability, Rahul Ishwar.
Anandji, Kerala is home to some great Muslim organizations like Indian Union Muslim League, educative and progressive MES, an evolving Jamaat-e-Islami, all respected spiritual organization like Samasta. But Popular Front of India is an Islamist, hardline, cancerous, extreme organization that, as rightly the earlier former law secretary said, chopped off the hands of Joseph Sir. They even killed their comrade, Abhimanyu, who is associated with the SFI, and they have even done such atrocities across. And we should not have a soft approach towards them. Whether they belong to any community, hardliners should not be encouraged. And Popular Front is a hardline Islamist organization, and everyone knows it. And they also have a political avatar, as we know it. That's the reason why we need to check on their funds. We need to check on their nefarious activities, their ideology. And so civil society, media, government needs to be sure that they are not spreading their tentacles. I'm a proud Malayali, but let me tell with sadness that 100 people from Kerala went and joined ISIS. If Kerala is such a heaven of pluralism, of secularism, why should people join ISIS from Kerala? So there is a problem. That doesn't mean we are branding any community in a bad way. We are having a problem. We need to tackle with it. There has been instances of forced conversions. There has been instances of such things that we need to debate, discuss, and not brush it under the carpet. Kerala has 27% Muslim brothers. 99.99% are as pluralistic and patriotic as everyone else is. But there is a 0.01% hardline Islamist radicalism, which people, for being politically correct, are not willing to talk openly. It's high time we talk.
No,
about
but why would you be? Why would the left? The left is not supposed to take any religious sides. It's supposed to be atheist. But why will the left allow? Why will the left allow parading of by the PFI celebrating the Mopla massacre right on the streets of Malappuram? Why was that allowed? Why is that being allowed?
If I can be very blunt and be honest, the left feels that Congress is slowly dwindling, and the Muslim support they can get. Usually Muslims vote en masse for Congress in the form of Muslim League or the UDF. The left feels anyway, since Congress is not gathering enough votes. Even A.K. Antony sir said we need to take Hindus along. A.K. Antony sir, that was his statement. So they feel...
No, he is only repeating what he wrote in his 2014 report. Finally the Congress is planning to dust off. But that aside, for the left, why should it play appeasement politics? The left has left under V.S. Achyutanandan had called the intentions of the PFI way back in 2009 in the Kerala High Court. I remember those.
VS was very courageous in saying so. VS was very courageous, and VS even went to the extent of saying Popular Front want to create an Islamic state in Kerala. Popular Front, through conversions, through forced conversions in the next 20 years, they want to change Kerala itself. This was courageously told by a communist. But later communists or LDF, they want to take a softer line because they believe they will also get some windfall gains out of the dwindling Congress ship, so that they can capitalize on the...
But then that means the left is very openly saying that the PFI represents the Muslims in Kerala. If the left is doing it as a game of appeasement, then PFI, then we have a serious problem. Then we have a serious... And Amna Begum Ansari, the other problem is, how do you know? How does the law pull up a person who's so deeply radicalized, who's an erstwhile SIMI member, who are founder members of the PFI, and their individual cadre? Because you cannot put a person behind bars just because you feel that person is radicalized. See, this is how they use the system to their advantage, the law to their advantage.
Yes, they do. Look, I don't think there is any debate that PFI is Islamic political organization or not. I mean, you will find enough academic papers. Even you can go through the Santos and Paleri 2021 paper, which clearly identify PFI as an Islamist political movement. So when we identify this is an Islamist movement, we understand that there is a problem, and it's not that this. PFI and their former member, their member who were like former member of SIMI. So the SIMI was not banned by this current government of BJP. It was banned by the Congress government itself.
Yeah.
So we have to go beyond this ideological battle and understand this is the threat to our nation. Also, please do not generalize PFI for the Indian Muslim, and I keep saying that because this is what they want. Their document clearly has mentioned that if 10% Indian Muslim will back us up, we will win this war. That's what they are looking for. So the terror organization does not only want to create a fear among the masses, but they also want to create a perception of victimization of Muslim community. If you or political party will treat them as a as a representative of Muslim, so you are giving the same message what they are looking for. They themselves are saying that 10% Indian Muslims are not supporting us and we need that support, and you are saying ki we will appease you because we want to make Muslims happy. What kind of messaging you are giving? So you have to rethink your you have to rethink your methods. You have to rethink how you are going to approach this organization, because they are going to stay in this society, and this is the long battle, and this battle is going through all around the world. So India is also going through this battle, and we still trying to figure out how we should find a solution to it. So this is a problem, but at the same time, please understand that we cannot generalize, because generalization is also will go in their support, and we cannot take them as a representative of Muslims when they themselves are saying ki we need 10% Muslim support. So
no, see, in Kerala, Amna ji, in Kerala, they wanted to cannibalize the IUML and all the other institutions. They were attacking these institutions and trying to say that we want to crowd and we want to represent all the Muslims in Kerala, not these institutions themselves. So the other Muslim bodies had a problem, inherent problem with the functioning of the PFI itself. And the PFI, left or right or center or whoever it is, they were attacking anybody who they thought is a threat or who is going to oppose them. It was not that, their stated position that we are the Muslim RSS and we are going to go after the RSS, which is the Hindutva force and all. This is all for stated intent. But what their idea was, and you said that document which came out of Bihar, this is what they were practicing in Kerala. But Mr. Harendranath, one of the things is this organization is like artificial intelligence. It is learning, and its members are also evolving. They were very smart. The moment the Campus Front of India and SDPI started getting under the thing, they changed their website to show Campus Front of India and SDPI's independent wings who have nothing to do with PFI. When it came to scrutiny,
can I add one thing here?
Yes.
Yes, the thing I just want to add this few lines that this problem with the PFI, we have been listening this accusation from 2010, not by the BJP government, but the communist government itself from the Kerala. I do not understand where do we fail as a state. I mean, we have to have some robust plan there. NIA is raiding right now, and which is a very good thing, but we have to come forward with some kind of action plan where we can produce proper evidence to show that they are the problem. What they are claiming is not the true, and we have to have some very strong action against.
See, this is where I'm saying that like AI, they have also mastered this art of subverting the law, using the system to subvert the system. Harendranath ji, how are we going to crack this? Final comment.
What is mind-boggling is that the cadre, they have highly educated technocrats in their cadre. I don't understand how these people are falling into this kind of organizations and trying to. Now you said about artificial intelligence. These are the people who can write down all sorts of technical things in the software and then infiltrate all these systems. and you find the people who have gone to Syria to fight.
Yeah.
It is all BTech and engineers from Kannur district. I don't know how this is happening. And we actually, the policing should start from there. They should actually, we should have a counterintelligence of some kind in colleges and other places where this indoctrination happens. You have to spot who's doing that, how they are doing it, and then at the bud itself it has to be nipped. Otherwise, we'll not be able to control this. Now, so far as Muslim League and other big organizations are concerned, PFI's main enemy, first enemy is the Muslim League.
Correct.
Because what they are vying is for the votes of Muslim League. Then they will become a powerful organization. And if they get some kind of 10% votes, we are done for in Kerala.
No, not just 10%. That is their intent. That is their intent, stated intent, pan-India, and more importantly, Kerala Christian forums have come out and complained against what the PFI is doing with it, but no action has been taken. It's not been seriously taken. From 12,000 to 16,000 to 30,000, those numbers are only swelling up. I've run out of time. I thank you all. Before we wind up this edition of the Right Stand, a quick update, ladies and gentlemen. Reliance Industries Chairman Mukesh Ambani's younger son Anant got engaged to Radhika Merchant. The couple had a traditional Roka ceremony at the Srinathji temple in Nathdwara in Rajasthan in presence of family and friends. The wedding date is not yet known. The couple have been friends for years. In fact, in June this year, Mukesh Ambani and Neeta Ambani had hosted an Arangetram for Radhika, who is a trained Bharatnatyam dancer. We wish the couple all the very, very best. And with that, we call it a wrap on this edition of The Right Stand.
Good evening, everyone. You're watching Brass Tacks. I'm Shivani Gupta. Another day, another face-off over Rahul Gandhi and his Bharat Jodo Yatra. But in this case, did the Congress commit a faux pas by inviting greater scrutiny of the actions of its own biggest face? Because after Congress raised concerns over lack of proper security for the Yatra, alleging that the government is failing to protect Rahul Gandhi for some political reason, the CRPF has put the ball back into their own court. The security force has said that Rahul Gandhi doesn't follow protocols often, while they made all preparations for it. So who's politicizing security? That debate after the story.
Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra has landed in yet another controversy. A day after the Congress wrote to Home Minister Amit Shah flagging off alleged security lapses during the Delhi leg of the Yatra, the Central Reserve Police Force rebutted the charges. The CRPF said security arrangements were fully made for Rahul Gandhi as per guidelines. Delhi police informed that sufficient deployment of security personnel was made, but during the Delhi leg of the Bharat Jodo Yatra, the protectee, that is Rahul Gandhi, violated security guidelines. And that since 2020, there have been 133 violations by Rahul Gandhi, which have been observed and duly communicated.
राहुल गांधी प्रोटेक्टी हैं और जो बयान आया है उसमें ये तथ्य सामने आया है कि प्रोटेक्टी को नियमों का, प्रोटोकॉल का पालन करना होता है। राहुल गांधी ने स्वयं इस यात्रा में दिल्ली में जो थी, इस प्रोटोकॉल का उल्लंघन किया।
The Congress had claimed that the Yatra security had been compromised several times since it entered Delhi on the 24th of December. AICC General Secretary K.C. Venugopal's letter alleged that Delhi police completely failed to control the surging crowds and they didn't maintain a perimeter around Rahul Gandhi, who has Z+ security. He went on to claim that Congress workers and Yatris walking with Rahul Gandhi